Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ministry Mondays with Meg. I'm Meg, and today you're at my house, so welcome. Um, I am Reverend Meg Biddle, and I am the National Coordinator of Ministry Life at ABHMS. And I am delighted to have each and every one of you here, whether you're watching or whether you're listening. Ministry Mondays is about talking to folks who serve in more ways than just the traditional church on Sunday morning. Today, I have the pleasure of welcoming my new friend. I mean, we're like Facebook friends, or Facebook stalker, I guess. But now we're going to be besties. And This is Minister Shavon Walker. Thank you so much for joining me today. So for people who don't know you, like where they've been, I guess not on the left coast or, you know, but if they don't know you, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about who you are, what you do?
So, the thing that people may know me for the most, at least at this point, is that I am also working with the Evergreen region. I am their Minister of Social Media. That's an abbreviated version of my full title and easiest to remember. I used to be a Harry Potter fan. There you go. So,
Oh,
Minister of Social Media.
oh, I love that. Okay, I won't forget that.
So, if you've been reading Evergreen Notes, you will see my articles on cyber safety and how to avoid getting phished, how to keep yourself safe when you're shopping online, and all sorts of things like that. In fact, real quick story about that. Recently, I put out a request for information as far as how churches had been faring post-peak pandemic, like how they had been using technology and so on after that. And only one group of churches responded. And that was because, well, two reasons. One, because I had asked that particular group of churches over a Zoom call if they would be kind enough to fill out this survey for me. And I think the rest of the churches thought that it was a phishing attempt. And at first, my feelings were hurt. And then I realized, wait a minute, that means they've been reading my articles and paying attention.
That's
You know what?
great.
I will take that. That is fine.
Right. Right. So now you're just going to have Zoom calls with like everybody to get them to participate.
Oh, yeah. By the way, that is also
Mhm.
part of my job. So if you need help with technology or Zoom services or whatever, please give me a call. We can put that information in there. So,
Yeah, we can put your contact information. Also, I personally might use it from time to time.
sure.
Mhm.
My husband is IT, so this is one of the reasons why I know as much as I do about cybersecurity. So I have to give him some credit.
I start with, Dr. Google, and when Dr. Google can't help me, I mean, yeah, I ask my husband because sometimes he knows, that stuff, but also no. And then, I go to other people. So this is, but I think that's great, especially with as much as you're inundated with the text spam phishing.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah, it's a mess.
that's called smishing or something, right? That's something.
Yes.
All
There's
the
all the
smishing.
fishing,
Yeah,
all the fishing and the various hooks that they try to use to get
right.
people.
The smishing, the vishing, the fishing. Yeah,
Don't
what too many
mind.
of the ishings, but well, I think that's fantastic that you provide that, and that hubby does that, and that helps you in your ministry. So I'm sure that's not all that you do, right? You've got.
So, thank you for the reminder. Part 2 of what I
Mhm.
do. I am a Twitch streamer. So, for those of you who have no idea what Twitch is, you may have missed that article in Evergreen Notes. Ahem, ahem.
I did.
Um,
We could actually link it in the notes. We'll
we
put
can
that in
do
the
that too.
show. We will put
Yes.
it in the show notes for folks. So if you missed it, Now you have no excuse.
And then you can go back and read the archives. It'll be beautiful and you'll learn so very
You
much.
will learn so much. Yeah.
So Twitch is basically live streaming. The way that I explain live streaming to folks who aren't quite sure what that is, I tell them to think about, um, once a year, if you guys remember cable TV, they would have, well, twice a year actually, they would have a call-in line where people could call in if they were having trouble on Thanksgiving with their turkeys or their mashed potatoes were too runny or whatever. They could just call in and get help. It was a hotline. So imagine doing that, but in chat. So you're not calling the person, but you're typing on your keyboard and communicating with them. They read your chat and they answer right there and then there. So it is fully live. And what I do is I stream cooking. I'm a food and drink person. So my ministry there is mostly food and drink, but I have things like uh, redemption or no, it's pastoral motivation. And my viewers can spend channel points, which they get while they're watching me. And if they're having a bad day, they can redeem pastoral motivation, and I will uh, tell them something uplifting. Often it's something that I got from a sermon or something like that. Every once in a while, I get some very unusual requests, like, can you give some pastoral motivation to my Christmas tree? Which I
Wait,
did.
to the tree itself?
To the tree itself because it was kind of droopy. They weren't sure if it was going to make it to Christmas.
Oh,
So I told it that, its ancestors helped found the temple, in centuries past. Therefore, it comes from a long lineage of of strong trees, and it needs to uphold that tradition and to draw back on its history. It was actually a little cedar tree too, so that was kind of cute. But anyway, so things like that.
I can also imagine this being a really fun game to play. Like, let's see what I could get Shavon to motivate today.
Well, there was also that one time that I did a eulogy for a Pokemon. But anyway,
Really?
that was very entertaining. Another streamer friend of mine was playing Pokemon, and she had this really old. Uh, uh, she had one of the monsters that she'd had for a very long time, and it got killed in battle, and she was kind of heartbroken about it. That really hurt her, and so she was like, "Hey, can you do a eulogy for my Pokemon?" I was like, "You know what? Yes. Yes, I will."
Aw,
Because you really loved this one, and yes, I will do an eulogy for so I
I
did.
I love this. Like, that's beautiful. My old my oldest my oldest has autism and he's 24. And so Pokemon is like been his life always. So I
Mm.
could totally see how being connected to the and how heartbroken you and how much really honestly that must have meant to that person for
Oh,
you to
she was
go,
sniffling.
I mean,
She
for you, but for you to validate her feelings that, hey, I'm having a
I'm
little
having a
grief,
moment.
you know, over over this. Could you? Oh,
Yeah, it was a
how
thing.
lovely.
And for me, I have learned over time that it is truly best to meet people where they are
Yeah,
and how important that is. Very few, I would say, out of my viewers on Twitch, I get maybe a few who are still actively Christian. I get quite a few who were Christian, but something happened in the church and they ended up leaving and that sort of thing.
yeah.
But they feel comfortable with me because I am not proselytizing. I am simply me. And this is the way I was created. This is who I am. And they are drawn to that part of me. And like, oh, well, if that's what Christianity is, okay, I think I can dig that.
But
So,
I mean, I get that. Like, people that just have that ability to make other people comfortable. You don't know why it is. It's just a God-given gift. And um I think that's why this show works, is just that people have that freedom to come and be themselves and tell their stories, and without pretense, and feel like, oh, well, I have to make myself better than the last person. Da, 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 that there's not a competition. It's just you and telling your stories, and they're all beautiful and lovely. And yeah, some of them are twisted and crazy, but it's part of who God made us out to be. And so I love that you Twitch stream, like, you
Hmm.
do that all day long.
It's usually, let's see, today is Friday. I usually stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and my theme is soul food. Soul food from all over the world. And I say that I believe in feeding the soul both, physically, spiritually, well, physically and spiritually, and occasionally emotionally. So I'll be stirring, oh gosh, what did I make the other day? Um, Yesterday I did like a one sheet pan dinner with a bunch of roasted vegetables and cut up pork tenderloin with some eggs, fried eggs on top.
Oh my gosh, that sounds delicious.
And so I was doing that, and I was doing my pastoral motivation, and I was showing off some of my crafts, and it was great. Yeah.
That's way better than the Dinty Moore chicken and dumplings that I microwaved in my hotel room last night. I mean, come on. Wow.
I am that person. There is an event, a convention that I will also be attending, and we talked about the Oasis, and we will mention that again.
Yeah.
But I am that person who, when we first started going to the Oasis, I went upon like, hey, so we're going to this convention thing, and hotel food is really expensive. How about if I just bring stuff and cook in the hotel room? He's like, we have a microwave. I'm like, I can use a microwave.
Wait, so that's like challenge accepted. I'm going to make dinner. I'm going to make something beautiful and fancy in the microwave.
I need to work on that one.
Okay.
But when we ended up going to Worldcon and I helped him with communion because it was the first Sunday, he gave me the leftovers. So I had the leftover grape juice and I had the leftover bread. And I turned the bread into a banana pudding. There is actually a clip of me on my Twitch stream turning this bread into a into a bread pudding.
You can give me all that info and we'll put that in the show notes and all that, because I mean, hello, Twitch stream, fancy cooking. I used the leftover communion grape juice and made a bread pudding. I mean, what?
And I will note that the grape juice did become carbonated wine, which I still use for Sundays even now.
Wow. I love this. See, this is fantastic. Now, I know that like budgets are what budgets are, but if you ever have the occasion, to like stay in a Hilton vacation club, those suckers, they're not as expensive as you think they might be. Because I stayed at one in Las Vegas a few weeks ago when I was out for the National Association of Broadcasters.
Wow.
You get a full kitchen
Ooh.
for it was like $10 a night more than the others. And that was the only like 10, and that was at a vacation club. And no, I didn't have a timeshare or anything like that. You get a full kitchen with pots, pans, all the utensils you need, a dishwasher, refrigerator, all that.
Wow.
Just putting a plug out there. You can rent regular rooms at the vacations clubs. If you're a cooker, that kind of thing, totally worth it. Totally. I mean, because the $10, yeah, get you some groceries, put them in your fridge. You're going to save yourself a ton of money. I
If
mean,
I can pull that off and there is a 99-cent store near me, oh yes, we shall eat
oh,
well.
yeah, yeah, because that's what I mean. This I went with some of my colleagues, and so that's what we would do. With like, we went to the grocery store and we like got butter and eggs and things like that, and so we split them between us. And you take your leftovers and you see what you can do out of them, because who wants to eat out of a food truck that charges like $18 for a taco? Really? And
Exactly.
the taco is just was like, not edible. We'd learned that the year before. So,
Right.
I always take a I always take my blender with me when I travel.
Mm. Hmm.
It's the dumbest thing, but I do. I take my blender with me, and I bring protein shakes just in case.
You
And
never
I'll
know.
go and get my alternate milk. Yeah, I'm one of those. I get my milk alternative because I can't drink regular, and use my little bullet blender, and I'll make protein shakes if worse comes to worse. But if I've got you with me, I'm not even. I would pack the blender just in case you needed it to make us
There you
something.
go. Like, oh,
I
hey, I
mean,
need a sauce.
wait, I've got a blender. Does
Right.
that help? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I need to go on a
So,
trip with
yeah,
you and let you just.
as as you can see, part of my ministry is also through food as well.
I
So,
mean, that's because food is what brings us all together. I mean,
mhm,
Jesus, meals, tables, you share meals with people that you love, and people that betray you too, because
mhm.
you still love them.
There's still love at the table, and there's
Yep.
room for at the table.
Yep.
And the best part is if you choose to leave, you do have the option to leave, but no one's
Mhm.
gonna kick you out.
Right.
So,
Right.
you have to excuse yourself in one way or another.
Exactly. Oh man, and if you're cooking food, like, that's beautiful. Oh,
Mhm.
I mean, what a gift. What a ministry that is, to be able to share that with. That's that I love this. I don't know, Paul Schneider, if you're watching this, if you're listening, I'm sure you are. Why didn't you tell me this before? I mean, we're going to chat about this later, Paul Schneider. I know you're hearing this. I'm
There
calling you
there
out, dude.
my husband and I, went to our staff leadership family
Mhm.
retreat, and, Paul was the one who picked us up from the airport, gave us a ride out to the island, drove us back to the airport
Mm.
when everything was over in the whole 9 yards, and at one point, to thank him, I made dinner. So he has gotten a chance to eat my cooking.
See, now that just makes me even madder about him not telling me. Paul, I love you, man. I do. But also, really, seriously, I mean, come on, you let me down. Um, we'll talk about it later. We'll hug it out. It'll be fine.
Right.
It'll be fine. You'll still get your t-shirt, no problem. But also, Paul, I'm a little bit miffed. So, oh my gosh. So, and you deal with Doug. You've got Paul and Doug? Oh, bless you.
I
You
don't know if
I
Doug's
mean,
eaten my cooking yet. I would like to make something special for Doug, but I'd really have to think about it. What I would like to
mm,
do is make him something from his home country, which would be awesome.
I mean, how could he not love that?
Yeah, I just
I
would A,
mean,
be afraid of botching it because B, I want to make sure I get a decent recipe. So, yeah,
well,
aside from that,
I mean, we can make this happen. I'm sure we can make this happen.
mm,
Yeah, we'll
if
work on this.
there you go, we'll make it work somehow.
And then you can Twitch stream like, hey, look, I'm making this is the meal I'm making, and tonight this is for Doug. And
That would be
Doug,
fun.
yeah, I mean, wouldn't it? It would be a blast. So you do the Oasis thing with Paul.
Hmm.
Okay, I guess for those who don't know who Paul is, so Paul Schneider, who is I forget what his a title is now. What is it? It's the associate. I forget.
It is a
Oh,
mouthful.
right.
Um, and I am actually trying to find it right now.
It's like associate admin. Exactly. I don't know. Anyway, he's an evergreen too, and so Paul has the Oasis ministry, and you're his sidekick, and most of that?
9 times
Or
out of 10, yes.
yes.
Um,
Okay.
in certain situations, this particular year, I happened to be head of Oasis, but that's because, an emergency kinda came up and I had to step in and he wasn't
Sure.
available at the moment. So,
Right.
like, "Me, I'll do it." So he's
Life
like, "Oh,
happens,
okay."
right? Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's wonderful that you have, I mean, that he has you, that he has somebody who can support him when life happens.
Right.
So you guys go. I mean, for those who don't know what Oasis is, do you want
Sure.
to?
By the way, his official title is Associate Executive Minister of Operations and Administration.
Okay. See, I now I don't feel so bad about not remembering
Don't feel
that.
bad at all.
That's a lot, really.
Like I said, a mouthful. So
But I'm giving you props for getting that up there. Woo! Yeah. Way to
right.
go, you. All of that can be found, I'm sure, at the ea-abc.org. You can find Shavon. You can find Paul. You can find Doug. You can't find Meg. I'm at Ministry Mondays. Where am I at? Ministrymondays.org. I'm everywhere. Just Google Ministry Mondays with Meg. I'll be there.
There you go.
Yeah. So, tell
The
everybody a little bit
Oasis.
about Oasis.
So the Oasis is designed as, and Paul has an elevator pitch for this that's
He
much
does.
better than mine, but it is basically designed as a safe space or a safer space for people who need to get away from the noise of a convention. Because you go to a convention and you're there, for everything. You're there to see the costumes, if there are any. You're there to, go to interviews with your favorite actors or actresses or whoever. You might be there for the parties. Who knows why you're there? You're definitely there to see old friends. But all of that can get very overwhelming after a
Mhm.
while. And
Yeah.
sometimes you need space just to, ground yourself and calm down so you can go back. Sometimes you can't go back to your room because you may be sharing it with 6 other people and you have no privacy. Bathrooms, you can only do so much in a bathroom. So the Oasis is that place where people can come and just kind of chill for a little bit. We have coloring books. You can sit down and color for a little while. We've got some nice music playing that's kind of meditative, so you can sit and just chill for a second. We in certain iterations, we have fidget toys and texture toys, things like that.
Oh, nice.
All sorts of really great things. Sometimes we end up with a room with a couple of beds. People can lie down for a minute and close their eyes,
Mm.
rest for a little while, then get up and go back. So we try to make it just a quieter space, a safer space where they can just kind of chill for a second. And the
I
best part is when the employees, well, the volunteers use the space as well, because of course they get overwhelmed too.
oh, yeah. I didn't think
And
about them.
yeah, especially folks who are doing security or the front desk people checking people in and so on and so forth. They will come after their shift and just kind of hang out and talk to us for a little while, maybe grab a snack. We also have little snacks and some water to drink, just to get themselves reoriented so they can go back and do what they need to do, which means that they are perfect. Um, Test cases, so to speak.
Yeah.
They will give us all sorts of props and tell anybody who asks, yeah, you should try the Oasis if you're feeling kind of crunchy. This is what they have, this is what they do. I've been there myself, and this is what the staff is like, and this, that, and the other. So it's great to have those recommendations.
Yeah. I mean, going back to thinking about my trip to Vegas, I actually, as I was walking around the floor there, I mean, because the Las Vegas Convention Center is huge,
Mm,
and there were even more people there this year than there were last year, and I was thinking about how very nice it would be to have something like that where you could go and just chill for a little bit, where it was quiet, where you could, those floors get so noisy and so
mhm,
crowded. And yeah, I know, like there where people are all, trying to talk business and stuff like that. And I'm just there to get the free stuff, really.
Right.
Um, yeah, yeah, and take a couple classes and learn a couple things. But
Mhm.
you was thinking how I did find myself thinking how nice it would be to have something like like the Oasis there, so that I could like just breathe for a few minutes, because that would have been your feet hurt, your and my own kiddo, my middle one, who goes to these, does her own costumes and all that stuff, and
Mhm.
does share a room with like six people because,
Yep.
they're 19 and 20, and who can
Can sleep on
afford,
the floor.
right? And can sleep on the right.
Right.
Um, you know, is like, if they're ever at one that I'm gonna be at, can you just like let me know? Because that would
Right.
be, because that would be great. Because it never fails. Like somebody gets to feeling crappy, and usually it's because they're dehydrated, because buying food and buying even water and anything out of a vending machine is so
It's
expensive.
ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, when like you said, when you're 19 or 20, you can roll up your jacket and sleep on the radiator. You can
Mm,
survive off, a couple of packets of peanut butter M&Ms for the weekend. It's good,
right,
You
but
can't do that.
add, yeah, but also then add the stress of the convention, add the heat from their costumes,
Mhm.
and just the overstimulation. I'm sure is.
And there are some event centers that are not exactly sensory friendly.
Mm,
So, and I know, like you said, the Las Vegas Convention Center is definitely one of them.
yes.
There is a hotel in the Bay Area where one or two conventions used to take place that had some really wild carpeting and some really unusual paintings, sort of this avant-garde thing. We had a bunch of folks who would come in simply because the carpets and the painting, because it just really messed with their senses. That plus all the noise from the
Yeah.
convention just really messed with them. So, yeah, it's good to be aware of those sort of things.
What, I mean, really, what a gift you are. I mean, that's just amazing. How did you even get involved? I mean, I know you said your husband with the whole cyber stuff. I mean, how did you just like fall? Did you just this kind of happen by accident, or you like, I want to learn what? How did this all come to be?
Wait,
I know.
which part? I'm a little
I don't
I
know.
think I
Start
got
wherever
lost.
you want. I'm sorry.
Um, Part of it is, here's a fun fact about me. I used to be a high school and college teacher. So I was a high school teacher for 2 years. I was a
Oh,
college professor for I think 3 to 4 years, something like that.
bless you.
So
Yeah.
that was an educational opportunity. I realized that for me, I really wanted to teach people one way or another.
Mhm.
So when I realized that teaching in a classroom was not for me, I had to find some other way to do it. And one of the reasons that Paul and I are besties is we like being the answer people. He's faster at it than I am, but we both love giving people answers. So, and I really don't like seeing people taken advantage of,
No.
or, being abused, or anything like that. So if there is something that I can share that will help protect them, then
Mhm.
I'm all in. Case in point. I made this shirt, by the way. So,
You did?
mhm.
Oh,
Let's see if I can show you a
I,
little bit of it.
I should have worn my shirt. I should have worn my shirt that you made. I should have worn my shirt.
Well,
Hmm.
they will get to see
Yeah.
it at,
Right.
the biennial.
I
So, and I
know.
plan on bringing this one with me as well. So
I
there you go.
I love. I might also. I might need to talk to you about purchasing one of those as well.
Oh yeah, we'll make it happen.
Right. Awesome. That is beautiful. It's beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love
So
it.
in particular, I had been hearing, at least as far as cybersecurity is concerned, I've been hearing a lot of stories about older people
Yes.
getting, phished and, turning in
Catfished as well.
yes, exactly. And, giving up their information and then having thousands of dollars stolen from them. And, I started thinking about my mother, who's in her mid 80s. And I'm like,
Mm,
well, I don't want that to happen to her. I don't want that to happen to her friends. So, hey, mom, I'm writing these articles for my region. Can you proofread them and tell me if you get what they're saying? That was my story, and I'm sticking to it.
that's brilliant.
Because,
No.
my target demographic, and it just so happens to be this way for Evergreen, is that we have a lot of older people.
Right.
And so if my 86-year-old mother can read this article and understand what the dangers are and how to avoid them, then more than likely my readers will too.
This is
So,
brilliant.
and apparently it worked. So,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Now, do you have one where you talk about catfishing? Because
I
it's a
don't,
problem.
unfortunately. It's technically not technology.
I know.
Technically.
I know.
But I might have to find a way to put a spin on that.
Yeah, I'll tell you a story about that one later.
Boy,
But
howdy wow.
uh-huh. I mean, yeah.
Oh,
I'll tell you about that one later.
oh yeah.
But I mean, sadly, people
Yeah.
lose life savings, retirements, marriages, and all of this for
Mhm.
people that aren't real. You know,
And just downright unscrupulous, and it
yeah,
makes me so sad.
it doesn't it?
So,
I
yeah,
mean,
and that's why I was like, "Okay, let me see what kind of knowledge I can tap into." Same goes for my community on Twitch. In particular, this is a story I wanna hear now that I
okay,
think about it. Okay, so way, way back, when the Pulse nightclub shooting hit,
yeah,
um, a lot of my friends who just so happened to be, LGBT
yeah.
plus became very depressed for obvious reasons.
Mm.
It's like we can't even go out and have a good time. Um, and it also did not help that the conservative pastors at a time had a lot to say
Mhm.
praising the shooting, which made me feel even worse because I come from a conservative background.
Right.
So this is the kind of stuff I grew up hearing.
Me
And I'm
too.
like, oh, that really sucks. And then a few months later, we had the election. And my friends literally became suicidal. They were writing posts on Facebook saying, I don't even know what to do now. I don't even want to live anymore. Is this life even worth living if this is going to happen? We're screwed. And I was like, okay, no, we're not doing this. We are not having you feel this way. Need to give y'all some kind of hope. And that is what pushed me into going to seminary in the first place. So my focus has been that community ever since. And a lot of them have told me, not only have you given me hope that there is something better, but that Christianity isn't the trash heap I thought it was. I'm like, good. I promise you it's not. There's some loud people out there, but we can be louder.
This is also the subject of my dissertation.
Oh, I may have some stuff you can use.
I
I
bet you
just
do. I bet you
email
do.
me.
Yeah. So this is see. Got timing on this stuff. So yeah. This is what I'm doing. Specifically on the LGBT community and the difference that inclusion as you are loved, beloved as you
Hmm.
are, that it makes
Oh yeah.
in the lives of, and creating some resources such as a um, affirming liturgy, as in affirming your name, your chosen, your new name, your um, non-dead name.
Hmm.
Um, I'm writing a to go in there.
So a resource, and if we're getting off topic,
Yeah.
I apologize
No,
and I'm really sorry.
no, that's what this show is about. This is about. Mm-mm. Yeah.
So the a resource that you may want to poke your nose into,
Yeah.
it is called the Reformation Project.
Oh.
And their website is thereformationproject.org, all
Ooh.
one word.
Okay.
And it was created by a young man who came out as gay and was also raised in a conservative environment and basically went, wait a minute, I'm being told that my desires are sinful and that my orientation is sinful and that I'm disobeying God, but I was also taught that God loves me. How did these two, connect? So he went and did research. He read a lot of theologians, both pro and against, and he created this cohort. And I believe the cohort is a year-long cohort. So you spend a lot of time reading, from different theologians and getting different theories about LGBT inclusion. They added on trans folks not that long ago, and so on and so forth. And you have to apply to get in. I got in. I was a little shocked and excited, and it was the best when we finally got to meet in person. It was like the best weekend I ever had
Wow.
with all of these folks. Most of them were younger than me, but I tried not to think about that. Uh, and who wanted to be included and could not understand why they were not being included, but had no defense. So it's hard when someone points at you and says, you're gay, you're going to hell, and all you can say is, okay, like that's not helpful for you or anybody else. So the other
Right.
thing that he did was help us learn affirming theology and Bible passages to back it up.
Awesome.
By the time
I will put this also in the yeah. I will put
by the
this also
time I was done, I
in
felt like, Rey from Star Wars getting Jedi training. It was fantastic. And one of the things that it really helped me with, because I am well, okay, I'm bi. There's a lot of bi erasure. My mode of operations is if you ask me, I'll tell you, but otherwise I won't bring it up because either A, you won't believe me, or
mm,
B, it technically has nothing to do with my ministry.
mhm.
So, when trolls come in and try to poke at me, oh, you're gay and you're going to hell. I'm like, really? Let's talk.
Right.
You can go ahead and say anything that you want, but I bet you I will shut you down. And
Yeah,
it's fun. It's actually
I
really
bet it
fun.
is. I bet it. Oh my gosh. Yeah. You
But anyway,
you are you are such a gift. I hope you know that.
thank you.
You know, man, not that you need affirmation, but I'm just saying you're such a gift. I am so grateful. I am really, really just a little bit.
My mother
So,
always said I was different.
well, I think you're pretty fabulous myself.
Thank you.
Um, different is different. We're all different, every one of
That is
us.
true. That is very
Um,
true.
and loved as we are. Um, yeah. What? So, am I forgetting anything? What else do we need to know about you?
Let's see. We talked about Twitch, talked about my cooking, talked about the Oasis.
Yeah.
Trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, I am currently in the process of ordination,
Oh, yay!
and it's a little different, thanks to the pandemic,
Right.
and well, sort of, um, because of my home church was First Baptist Church of Berkeley,
Oh, okay.
and once I became an American Baptist, that's where I started going. And as most folks who watch the show probably know, they ended up closing their doors.
It's Nathan Britson.
Yep. Mhm. Yep. He and I took a couple of classes together and, we
I love him.
were yep. So, they did end up closing their doors,
They did.
and
Okay.
at the time, by the time they closed their doors, Paul had moved to Washington because he and I both grew up in the Bay Area
Okay.
and, had gotten a call to his own church. So, rather than leave me without a church home, he said, "Hey, I know I'm in Washington and you're in California. But really, that doesn't stop you from becoming a member of my church. There's really nothing that says it has to be within geographic bounds.
This is true.
And I thought about it, and he he also pointed out that if I joined his church, that would make me eligible for ordination because then I'd have a church home. And I was like, wait. And this actually worked out perfectly because when I had talked to my former pastor about the process, and I was already in the process,
Right.
we were trying to find a church for me to basically do my time in. And I was looking for a church that was LGBT affirmative, and there
Yeah.
are one or two other things that I was looking for, but unfortunately, at least at the time, there were only 3 churches in the area that fit that criteria,
Yeah.
and I believe 2 of them were not looking for an intern at that time. And then I was trying to get to the 3rd one, and that kinda went all splody, so that wasn't gonna happen. So Paul's like, "Hey, join my church. Let's see what we can do." I'm like, "Okay." So, um, it's like I said, it's a bit unusual because I am a member of a church that is literally 13 hours away by car. But I'm there every Sunday. I rarely miss a day. I am participating in services. I usually read scripture and do a prayer every Sunday. When I can, I try to, visit every 3 months just so people can see me face to face and talk to me and that sort of thing. And I know a lot of folks may feel that because of that distance and because they are not seeing me face to face every single Sunday, that they would not know me well enough to make an informed decision as far as whether or not I would be a good candidate for ordination. But I think the folks at Burien would, if you asked them about me, they could probably tell you quite a bit about me and probably a few things
Right.
I forgot I told them. So,
I mean, I've, you know, known you for all of like 42 minutes now. And, yeah, I don't, yeah, you're very welcoming. And like we were talking earlier, you're just somebody like that just draws people in. And so, yeah, I am so glad that that all worked. I I'm I chatted with Nathan a few times while he was finishing seminary and things like that, and over Zoom and stuff. And I knew the plan was eventually to close the church, but I didn't realize they'd gotten there already. So I'm glad that Burien
mhm.
has found a way. So how close are you?
Well, we how shall I put this? We're in the process. And
Okay.
so that I personally do not get lost in the time period or the
Mhm.
timeline, I mentioned I like arts and crafts, right?
Yeah, I've heard
So,
this. Yeah.
right? I am making my ordination robe. So I am making a robe for myself to wear for ordination. Um, and I have promised myself that the process of making the robe is going to go along with the ordination process. So by the time we are planning, the ceremony itself, I will be finishing it up. As of right now, all the pieces are cut out. So
Okay.
that's where I am right now. The pieces are cut out
Okay.
and waiting to be put together.
Oh, this is wonderful. Well, you have to keep me posted because
Oh yeah.
this is fantastic. Oh, yay. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, I love you. You're fantastic. I'm
Thank
so
you.
glad you came and did this. I don't tell every guest I love them, so
I feel very special and honored.
Um, just so you know. Um, so I guess we come now like you're a person who radiates joy, really. But the joy question, we've got to do that. So all these things that you do, what brings you joy?
There are, well, for me, there are two ways to think about it.
Okay.
There are the way that I bring joy. the ways in which I bring joy to others, which also gives me joy,
Mhm.
and the way that I fill up on joy. So, the way in which I bring joy to others through my ministries, cooking and showing people really cool food, um, doing things like pastoral motivation, um, letting people know that if they need to talk about something. And, I've had some people come in to my chat with some pretty heavy stuff.
Mm,
So, and I'm just an ear. I'm like, I wish I could solve your problem. I know I can't, but at least you have somebody who can hear you out. So you can vent here and it's okay.
mm,
Um, what else? Being able to teach people things, whatever it was, even if it's something as simple as, hey, this is how to find a cool password that you won't forget, things like that. This is how to sew up a hole in your dress that suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Um, being part of a fundraiser. I'm actually going to be part of a fundraiser because it's Pride Month, and I will be walking
mhm.
around my local lake with another Twitch streamer to raise money for the Trevor Project. So these are the ways in which I bring joy to others, and it makes me happy too. The way that I fill up on joy, I am a very sensory person. So things like the first warm day of
Mm,
spring, the smell of my backyard when I open my door. I grow jasmine and lavender, and I'm working on roses. So when that's full bloom and that hits my nose, I'm happy. Playing with my cat and making things in particular. I love making things. I love cooking, obviously. So those are the things that bring me joy.
that's beautiful. You're such a lovely guest. I mean,
Thank you.
now I'm gonna have to tell everybody they're a lovely guest.
Just so people don't feel slighted.
No, no, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, Malone's hilarious. Let's just say that. But this one is, yeah, this has been a lot of fun. You're just really inviting and easy to talk to, and I can see why it works
Mhm.
really for you. So I appreciate you and all of your ministries. Um, we will make sure that we put links to all your fabulous projects and websites and all that in all of the show notes because Ministry Mondays with Meg is like everywhere now. We're on Spotify, we're on iTunes, we're on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and all of the things. So we will put them all of the places so that people can connect and we can share all these wonderful things that you're doing with other people and um, help build a community. More people that sit there and watch you make wonderful food and connect and things like that. So
And I'm just going to go ahead and plug them one more time, if
go
that's all
for it.
right with you.
Yep.
So, as a person, it's Evergreen staff.
Yep.
As the minister of social media, I am constantly looking for churches to send me events, send me things that you want me to put in the Evergreen notes or on the website or splash all over social media. Let me know what those things are. There's the website right there. You can also email me, and this will probably be in the show notes, media@ea-abc.org. If you have questions, again, about cybersecurity or Zoom services or how to use live streaming or how to record live streams, anything like that, same email address, media@ea-abc.org. So that's where you can find me there. If you want to see some good cooking and listen to me rant and interact with my chat, we'll have my Twitch stream in the show notes. I am Jane_Henry down there because nobody can pronounce or spell Shavon outside of this group. Uh,
Right.
so I made it easy. So you'll be able to find me there. And yeah, if you guys want to see more sort of off-brand, sort of non-ministry type stuff, I'm also on Instagram and Twitter and things like that. It's mostly food, though. I'm warning you now. Don't look unless you don't mind being hungry. So I see Meg is really thinking about this right
I
now.
know. I mean, because I've had, I was in my demon class this week in Kansas, and, good food doesn't always necessarily go with travel.
This is true. This is very
We did
true.
have great Mexican one night, but other than that, um, you
Well,
know,
I will note that apparently Executive Minister Jared Huguenot is very, very good at figuring out where the good places are to eat, especially in Kansas.
um,
So,
yes. Yeah, I mean, like when I was there for like, I don't know, sometimes he's like, he pushes the barbecue kind of thing. But also, then when you're there for school, it's harder to find time to like do the do the food searchy stuff.
definitely.
So then you end up eating things like Dentimore and
Right.
macaroni.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Because, it's
Or
$3.
begging somebody to bring back some takeout or something.
Something. Yeah, one night I did break down and get egg drop soup at the Chinese restaurant, and yeah, that was helpful. Um, that was helpful. But yeah, there's only so much you
So
can eat.
much you can eat.
Anyway, yeah. So I'm gonna sit there and watch the Twitch and go, I'm hungry. Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
huh, what do I have in my fridge? Can I
Right.
make that Japanese pancake? I bet
I
I can.
The answer is no. I can tell you that right now. But my kid might be able to because
Mm.
they're very resourceful. Yeah. Try all sorts of sometimes she makes their own like is it the umami? Is that the like the rice balls? Is that what she
Oh,
calls?
the onigiri?
Yeah, that.
Mhm.
Oh, the umami. The yeah.
But
And
onigiri is umami, so you
oh,
weren't totally wrong. It
okay.
tastes umami, but it is onigiri.
Okay. With the whole like
The
seaweed
filling, the
wrap
triangle
and
shape, and the sweet,
yeah.
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 Mhm.
Yeah. Um, so, you know, that kid of mine is pretty ingenuitive. So
And
I'm gonna let them know.
thank you for the reminder, actually, because I saw a recipe with what was it? Soy sauce cured egg yolks in onigiri. I know, right?
Mm, that
And
sounds fantastic.
a lot of my food tends to be either keto or diabetic friendly.
Oh,
So I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna try and make some diabetic friendly, some keto rice, do the egg yolks, and then see how it goes. If I can make an onigiri out of that. Now, if it fails miserably, I'm just gonna claim it's a deconstructed onigiri.
I
That's my
mean,
story.
and
Hmm.
we'll stick to it. I mean,
Totally did it on purpose.
absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah. Especially if it's delicious. Come on.
There you go.
Yes.
But
Oh
yeah, so
my
this is
gosh.
what I do.
That's fantastic. Okay. All right, people. Now I'm putting all these things in the show notes. And so you have no excuse other than, you're just lazy, I guess. I mean, I'm gonna call names now. But or it made you too hungry. Whatevs. Look it up. Eat some popcorn and watch the show. So um thank you for being you, for being you and these ministries and being a fantastic, fantastic guest. Thanks to ABHMS for letting me ramble and at least once a week on Mondays at 11 a.m. Eastern time, and all the corners of the internet now, and infiltrating people's podcasts. It is a blast, and it is the thing that brings me joy. And I am just so grateful for the many, many people that, you know, I have had the honor to meet. And as I'll tell you, people aren't strangers, for very long. Give me about 10 seconds or so, and we'll be friends. So
There you go.
it's all good. Consider yourself warned if you sit next to me on the airplane, whether you want to or not. We thank everybody for watching, and join us again next week. And if you're going to be in Puerto Rico, please stop by, say hey. Track down Shavon, she'll be around. Gonna bring her a Ministry Mondays with Meg shirt so that she can, sport some swag. And and one for Paul too, because if not, I'll never hear the end of it. And so we thank everybody for watching. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.